So I've been filming a lot with this background, but only because I don't have to set up like my lighting. It's just me being lazy right now, and also my house isn't fully furnished and decorated, so I'm just going for, you know, just the easy spots right now, just because there's so much going on. But it's been a while since I've done a story time on my channel. I actually mentioned this on my main channel. I know a lot of you are here actually from my main channel, but if you're just new to the vlogs and you didn't know that I actually have a main channel, it is CraftyGirl. It's just Dollar Tree related videos, decorating videos, things like that. Whereas obviously my vlog channel is more about just like my day-to-day life and cleaning and all those things. But the last time that I did storytime videos, it was about like my ghost experiences. And today I'm actually going to do a high school story time. So, and I'm going to try to do no editing, which means I'm going to cough a little bit. So there's that. And, but yeah, so this story time, I want to go ahead and prep it, okay? Because I was a teenager in the 90s. Being a teenager in the 90s and prior to were, I think, different than what they are now. I can speak to my own experience because I have a teenager. Well, she's in college now, but this is her last official teen year. But yeah, so the purpose of this video is not to have people come for, you know, like the mom in this situation, not my mom, but the friend's mom, and, you know, just take it very lightheartedly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's already done, it's already in the past, and it's just to share you guys a story time of what essentially is about ginger ale and banana nut muffins from my memory. And it is a funny story, but it's hilarious because if it were to happen today, it would be like, you can't even do anything anymore in life, you know, without, I don't know, without so much judgment, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So just keep in mind that this story occurred when I was 16 years old, and that was in the 90s. So, so yeah, all right. So I am gonna speak to one of my high school best friends in particular. However, I'm not going to say her real name. So I need to come up with a name so that I can at least reference that. So we're gonna make something up, and her name is going to be, what is her name gonna be? We're gonna call her Rebecca. That's what we're gonna call her. Yeah, so there's her name for this video. Also, the other thing that I want to say, and I'm saying all this because I just don't, this story time isn't supposed to, they're supposed, you know, there doesn't need to be, I guess what I'm saying, any backlash, because it happened well more than 20 years ago. So, you know, kind of irrelevant at this point. But not everyone grows up in the American picture perfect, you know, situation. And I had that situation, and so did she. We didn't have that situation. I grew up with my grandparents, and they had already raised their, you know, their kids, and, you know, they definitely did the best that they could for me, and I'm just very grateful for that. Her situation was, you know, she honestly actually just like reminds me of my life a little bit with my daughter, just the mom and the daughter, and that was their life. And they were actually from a different country, so yeah. So anyway, I met her originally. This isn't like to go too far back because this was when we were 16, but I met her originally, I think, when I was 13 years old, when I was in the 7th grade. However old I was then, I'm not trying to do the freaking math there. But we instantly hit it off, and we were best friends all through middle school, all through high school, and yeah, we just kind of lost touch, you know, because I immediately had my daughter, and you know, and the kids my age were off going to college and such. So anyway, so we were 16 years old, and I'll never forget this. Her mom had given her several of her credit cards and given her a task to do. And the only reason why I remember how old we were is because she had her car. And so obviously I knew that we were 16 years old. And her mom gave her like 3 different credit cards. And she was like, oh, you know, go pull out X amount of money for each card. And we didn't really question anything. We were just happy to get in her car and drive and roll the windows down and listen to Destiny's Child. So, you know, Bone Thugs and Harmony, that was our jam. Like that is where we were at in the 90s. And so and actually I have pictures of this. I have pictures of this. But I don't know if I'm gonna put them in this video or not. At least definitely not of her, but there are solo pictures of me. I'd have to go dig through them, and actually I don't think I'd be able to, because I just moved in here and I have no idea where any of this stuff is. But anyway, so, you know, I'm her little tag-along ride or die. So we go, and I just remember us pulling up to these ATM machines, and she just puts her mom's card in, gets the cash, and then we start, and we have like wads of this cash for her mom. And then of course we had to have a photo shoot. And by photo shoot, I mean an actual camera with film in it, because we did not have digital cameras. And so we had to wait to get them developed to see what we had done. But we had like wads of this cash that we had compiled from pulling out money from each of these cards that she won. It was an exuberant amount of money. I think it was like over 30 grand or something like that. And we were just like flashing this money and like taking pictures with it. It was hilarious, because of course we were 16. We never held that much cash before in our lives. And oh god, that was hilarious. So then what I kind of remember next was just going back, and I don't even remember that we saw her mom. And I think that what she had done is put the cash in her mom's bedroom, is like kind of like what my memory's remembering. Because the last time that I remember seeing her mom was when she had given us the credit cards, and then I had not seen her again. So but she was like in real estate and stuff, so she, you know, she was out, I'm sure, showing houses and all that stuff. Yeah. And then my next memory was, and I stayed a lot at her house, so much so that in the upstairs, which again, I just now realized that her like life kind of reminds me of mine, not like in the relationship sense, but in the fact that it was just her and her mom. They had a 2-story house, and then the whole upstairs was hers. Just very right, exactly to like me and my daughter. But anyway, so the upstairs had a guest bedroom, and I stayed a lot, obviously, in my best friend's room, because, you know, we were always having slumber parties and stuff. But when I started sleeping over there so much as I got older, in high school, not in middle school. In middle school, it was like a slumber party here and there. But as we started to get old enough to have our cars and transport each other to like our houses or whatever, well, I actually didn't have a car, she did. I would stay in the guest bedroom. And so I just remember, and this was also on school nights, you know, I mean, my grandparents, it was just very, I don't know if you grew up in the 90s and you had the same experience, but it was just like very relaxed in a lot of ways, you know. It wasn't like you were constantly being monitored and all of those things. So I just remember getting up, and I think it was a school day, and we went down to, you know, we got dressed, get ready to leave, and her mom wasn't there, and we were just kind of like, okay, whatever, you know. She got up and went to work. And it wasn't until like that night or even the next day, that we were, and again, we're talking about my memory, which isn't like the best. So I would be interested to like hear her version of the story, you know, just to kind of see if it's like matches up with my memory. But basically her mom like took off on a cruise. That's like the gist of it. And we were like, what? Yeah, she didn't say anything. I know that is, in today's day and age, that is absolutely bonkers. And it was probably even bonkers for the 90s, for all I freaking know. But listen, we survived, we didn't burn the house down, and yeah, unfortunately, her house wasn't stocked with food. And what there was a lot of was ginger ale and banana nut muffins. And so, and of course I could have gone home, and she obviously could have gone with me, but we were 16. You think we were gonna go back to my house when we had that kind of opportunity to throw a party and do the whole thing? Yeah. We decided we were grown enough, big enough to handle it ourselves. We weren't. I never had ginger ale or banana nut muffins in my life up until that point. And I fell in love until this day. My soda of choice, hands down, is ginger ale, period. And it is because of that moment. Banana nut muffins as well. You would think that maybe the story of that would be reversed. Like I had it so much that I don't want to touch it because of that. But no, I instantly fell in love with the taste of both of those things. And it's because of that specific memory. So it's kind of funny. So I will say that one of her family members knew, because the mom had said something, from what I remember, to like her uncle or somebody. I just don't remember. See, this is the part where my memory is bad, but someone really could have shown up, and probably someone did, because I wasn't with her the whole entire time. Like after school, I would go back to my house, blah, blah, and then she'd come pick me up kind of thing. So, but I do remember that she did say something about like a family member. I think it was a guy, it was an uncle, and that they knew that the mom took off on a cruise and that he was checking up on her. So, still, like, if I left on a cruise, like the first person I'd be telling is my daughter, like, for starters. But whatever, neither here nor there. Anyway, this story sounds horrible. Trust me. Anyway, so so what I remember us doing most of the time, and this was big in the 90s, right? Because You've Got Mail comes out, and that whole dial-up that you hear in You've Got Mail, that's not like a movie thing. Like if you're brand new and you were just born yesterday, that's not like a movie thing. That's a real thing. We had to dial up, wait to hear the that whole thing. Like that was real. We had to literally wait to connect to the internet. And so what I remember us doing were two things the most of, and that was ginger ale and banana nut muffins. She had some frozen steaks, and I think that we attempted to defrost them and attempted to cook them. I just don't remember the results of that, but I remember us attempting that. So we did the chat rooms, which was the time of our lives. Who remembers chat rooms and talking to people, meeting guys or meeting a girl? It was super exciting. Like the boys we would talk to, of course, we have no idea who they are, really how old they are. You know, it was like catfish material right there, right? We don't know, you know, if they're creepy or like, we don't know it, but we don't care because we're falling in love on the internet in a chat room and we are here for it. The second thing that we did was play a game, and I think it's called You Don't Know Jack. Does anyone remember that game from the 90s? But we loved that game. And it was like, it was an internet chat or some type of game. I don't even remember. It was on the computer. And we were, and what was hilarious is we would get ready to get on the internet. We would get ready to Bone Thugs and Harmony. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. We would get into our, you know, hair, beat our face, that whole thing for people who couldn't see us. And we were living for it. I remember we spent hours. We would go the entire night. One night, we didn't sleep. We were on the chat, and I think that she had multiple computers, so I think like I was on one of them because I didn't have my own computer. That was a big deal to have a computer, or maybe it wasn't, but in our house, we did not have any computers of any sort. We also didn't have like cable. So while Friends was becoming a show, Party of Five was a thing, Dawson's Creek was huge. I only knew about it because I would go to school and people would talk about it. You know, we didn't have like cell phones with the internet. We had the Nokias where you could play the snake game, and that was it. You know, that was also the beauty, in my opinion, about my childhood being then, because if you had a problem at school, you really only had to face it at school, because then when you got home, you were in a safe zone. That's no longer the case for these kids anymore, because the internet is right there. They're constantly facing whatever issues, you know, at school, at home, and it's just a really sad situation. But anyway, so where was I headed? I kind of lost my train of thought there. I don't remember how long that she was on this cruise, but I think it was like a week. Maybe it was like 4 or 5 days, but my memory, it felt like a week. And I think I stayed over at her house every night. And no, my grandparents had no clue, right? Well, I was just like, hey, yeah, I'm going to Rebecca's house, and you know, that was the end of it. But I'm telling you, I think the best memory for me was really the chat and talking to people, you know, and just kind of falling in love, not in love, but like, you know, having like this crush on someone you don't know, but you're having like these fantastic conversations with, which is very eerily similar to the new show Love is Blind, right? Where they talk in pods, but they can't see each other. It's kind of the same exact concept of going online and starting to like date someone. That's why in the movie You've Got Mail, her reaction to telling him that she met someone on the internet was embarrassing, because it was just becoming a thing. So dating from the internet was just like, well, that's very different. You know, usually you meet somebody face to face, whether it's at work or at a bar. Like those were your staples of how you would meet somebody, through a church, through friends. Like that was it. So beginning to meet people that you had never seen, never met on the internet was just, at first, it was like an embarrassing kind of thing. But I realized that really this story should be about banana nut muffins and ginger ale, but really like that's the end of it, right? I mean, that was all that she basically had in her house. And, but I'm telling you, we had the time of our lives. And I think in other situations, cops probably would have been called. But we did have a party in which in her backyard she had a jacuzzi, and someone put dish soap into it. That became a thing. And I think I actually left that party, from what I remember, because yeah, because I don't remember what all happened. As a matter of fact, I think that when I showed up that day, the party was already going on, and I was going through her house like, oh my God. Oh, and I remember this because her mom once told me, she was like, if I ever leave, she looks at me to tell me this. She's like, you are in charge of my house, because like I don't trust this one. And so I remember having that in the back of my mind, and I show up to her house and there's people everywhere, people I don't even know, and I'm just like, what is happening? Why are there bubbles everywhere in your backyard? And yeah, but I just, unfortunately, like that's my only memory of it. I don't think that I stayed that long. And because at this time in my life, I was just meeting, like a little bit before I was 16, I was just meeting my high school sweetheart. My very first love. That's not a story time for this, and I don't know that I'll ever do a story time video about it, but I think that I was just like preoccupied with that too, you know? So, but that's it, girl. That's the story. I don't know how interesting it was to you, how appalled some of you are. Again, this happened 20 plus years ago, and we made it out. We lived. Her mom came home, and I don't really remember any sort of conversation being had about, was I there? I don't remember anything. I don't remember Rebecca getting into trouble or anything on that level. She must have cleaned up, because I don't remember anything after the fact. Yeah, really what sticks out in my memory is how much I was just ready. We were on that computer every day, and that's what we wanted to do. So I guess that's the good thing, right? Because we weren't doing anything dangerous or hurting ourselves, I guess. You know, we were just literally in a house, unattended, but sitting in a room on a computer. Like, that was the extent of how we used that free time. But we had the time of our lives. I think I've already made that very clear. And I don't know, comment and let me know your 90s experience. If you were a teenager then, and being on the AOL dial-up and going into chat rooms, and it was just, technology was starting to get its momentum, and it was just, we were getting our feet wet, you know, and we were getting very excited. It was a crazy concept to talk to somebody from the other side of the United States or another part of the world. It was mind-blowing, and now look at us, you know. But yeah, so be thankful that your internet pops up like this, because once upon a time we had to file our nails and wait, and it was excruciating. So, but anyways, that's the story. Hope that you guys enjoyed my high school story time. We went to school. She was gone like in the week. We went to school every day. We did not miss school. Got in her car, drove to school, and yeah. Wow. The story time, saying it out loud, it sounds really scary, because I guess that's what happens in this world now. You know, you get to a point where everyone is watching you, as a mom, as a dad, watching every move you make, what decisions you make, and then, you know, you have to defend yourself. I mean, obviously there is right and wrong. Leaving underage kids alone to go on a cruise, in theory, but still. All right, that's it for the story time. I have lots of high school memes, so I don't know. We'll see how well this one does. Thumbs up. Remember, take it easy. It happened 20 years ago, but that's it. Thank you guys for sitting down with me and listening to. Oh God. But hey, you know, when you watch my grocery hauls and you see that ginger ale pops up, now you know why.